Oh, hey everybody! This is a short live stream, but I just have to call that out because this is a disaster of a game. Just a disaster of a game, a disaster of an outing, a disaster of a night. It set the record. Well, yeah, that's one thing with YouTube. It set the record this game for the most points produced in a building, uh, in the Warriors building. This was at a loss, though. This is the most points they've either had scored or had scored against them in 10 years. 10 years ago, the Warriors put up 162. Um, this time, the Clippers hung 141 on them, but in the Warriors' new building. And the worst of it all was to turn on the TV. I'm 3,000 miles away here in Georgia, right? And then to turn on the TV and see empty seats and people leaving. Like, well, like I predicted would happen just watching the San Francisco bar scene when the Warriors would play basketball. You had maybe half the room engaged in the Warriors game, right? And then you had another quarter. Half the room was locked in. Okay. Then you had another quarter that was kind of semi paying attention, and then you had another quarter that didn't care at all. I mean, they're just blah, 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 game is going and everything. In Oakland, everybody's engaged. You know, this contest. I'm pointing at the screen over here. It really encapsulated the difference between San Francisco and Oakland. You got people out there. You didn't need a ticket. You could have went down to Chase Center and watched from the outside and hung out with. They got Spider-Man over here and all these folks and hanging out, but it's just not the same. In a negative way. In a negative way, it was a move the Warriors made for money because they believed, and their balance sheet is proving them correct, that they could really score. Now, I contend that if the Warriors had stayed in Oakland, if the Warriors had, if they wanted a new stadium and they built it downtown or the water or whatever, a new arena, excuse me, they could have scored just as much in sponsorship revenue because at the end of the day, they're talking about where you're talking about a team that wins a lot, and then it's building the stadium versus the arena, excuse me, and it's popular. It's all it depends on is design, location, and cost. And ideally, you would have wanted to set it up so that it was affordable. And one key issue this time, beyond the venue itself, but related to it, is the fact that the tickets are now expensive. And it's I hate to repeat that it's not the same thing, but it's not the same. It just isn't the same. So I said it in my previous video on this. I'll say it again. This opens up a market for Oakland. The San Francisco Bay Area. Hey Raider Lou, how you doing? Raider Lou says, I can't lie, glad the Clippers handled business. And Jack Bauer says, will Raiders have same issue in Vegas? I think so because you're talking, again, I'll get to that and then let me get to that. Let me come back to what you're saying here while my brain is still working. What I was saying is that the NBA can handle a two-team San Francisco Bay Area. Oakland needs a basketball team that it can call its own, that would be as big a rivalry as the Clippers and the Lakers, and I think the NBA would be the better for it. The teams would be better off for it. And in an era of gambling, I think it's something that that Oakland really sorely needs. This idea that the Coliseum is better served by some other use than sports, with gaming and gambling coming along, Whoever thinks that is just absolutely nuts, okay? Just nuts. No, you haven't ran the numbers. Start running some numbers. It's not true whatsoever. My concern, however, is that Oakland, I'm really concerned that Oakland just will, in my lifetime, not get its act together. That really does bother me. It's just going downhill in so many ways. Ray Lou says, do you think the NBA will ever give Oakland an expansion team? Ray Lou, I think the question is, will Oakland ever get it together enough to go and do economic development like we used to and go out and get an expansion team? It's not a matter of giving. It's a matter of getting. It's the mindset. You see what I'm getting at? It's the mindset. It's a matter of what we do as a city to make this stuff happen. And we don't do anything. Oakland literally lost its economic development cojones as its white population, its money white population grew. It's like the city just sort of stopped and said, okay, we're done. We don't need to develop jobs for people who don't have a tech background or anything. We just sit back and let the market build these expensive units of housing, and then we get drunk on the idea that it's okay to build all this housing because we build all of it, eventually the price will fall so that people can afford the homes at the lower rung. That's a variation of the idea that, in the long run, all this will work out, right? But as a number of people have always said when that was presented, in the long run, we're eventually dead. So I can't explain just how disappointed I am in my city because it just insists on being losers so much. And it's always the wrong people making the decisions that cause it. I'm being blunt, okay? I'm being deliberately nasty blunt because we don't have any want to. We have zero want to. People are just sort of mailing it in. I mean, everybody, business folks, politicians, just mailing it in. And, Libby said the other day, we always have a homeless problem in Oakland, it'll only get worse. As opposed to, we're going to do the miracle thing. We're going to fix this issue, okay? We're going to fix this problem. And here, do you realize that for the first time in my lifetime, we have, I'll get to that question, Ray Lewin, it's a good one. We have a situation, where, because it is sad, and I can't help but want to cry about it because it's just frustrating. I mean, I tried to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland years ago. I really worked a lot, and people like me are always kind of thrown out of Oakland, and Oakland doesn't appreciate people who really try. Because Oakland itself, it's kind of like the gigantic civic personification of a person that has a gigantic depression problem. You can't make it feel better about itself, and it's going to hate you in the process. That's Oakland. That's Oakland, okay? And we just seem to just grow that way, and there are a lot of reasons for it. It's not just the existence of San Francisco, but it's also, I said this the other night, it's the existence of a population, Oakland being the only city, as we used to call it, the chocolate city, in a Bay Area that was predominantly not chocolate, not black, and not being appreciated or not insisting upon its being appreciated. And Oakland was not being unapologetically black, right? Oakland was being apologetically black. And I'm sorry, folks, people don't like to hear this. I don't care. That lack of love for Oakland as a black city set the tone for the Oakland of today. It allowed Jerry Brown to come in and change and essentially throw, freeze a lot of African Americans out of the economic picture. It allowed that tradition to continue. And now that we're more integrated, however, it's turned into a class problem where we have a lot of ultra haves, and have-nots. Note I said ultra haves, okay? Haves and have-nots. And no desire to do anything about it, okay? None. Someone would say, well, gee, San Francisco needed an arena. They needed a large-scale event center. Well, but look, it didn't need to come at our expense. And as much as I admire the work of my former client, the late San Francisco Mayor Ed Lee, it came at Oakland's expense. And Oakland just sat back and let it happen. And that's exactly what happened. I was at the 2012 Warriors party that a number of the media mistook for a groundbreaking to announce the new stadium, new arena, right? And I asked Joe Lacob, this is right here on Zenny62 on YouTube. I said, hey, paraphrasing, what do you think about the possibility of Oakland suing you? Because that's what should have happened. All right? But Oakland doesn't fight. It just, it sits back. Now, you would say, we've got this lawsuit. Yeah, we do have a lawsuit. But even look how long it took for that lawsuit to come about. It should have went right out the door and just figuratively, bam, just everybody that it wanted to hit, the Raiders, NFL, boom, it should have done that. That lawsuit should have been out the door the moment the NFL voted for the Raiders to go to Vegas. It should have been gone. Pew. Gone. But it wasn't. And then what I say, and I'll just say this, is Oakland's elected officials, and I said this to someone the other night who was elected official, I said they have no business trying to make decisions regarding sports because they don't do it right. It needs to be a commission, like the Oakland Alameda County Sports Commission, as I would call it, or the Oakland Sports Commission, by initiative, and that group appointed by council members, fine, and the mayor, like we do the police commission, but that specialized group of people to focus on sports would allow fans to come, or the different teams, and come and also different events to come and say, hey, look, I want to see this event. Here's an idea of how we can get it. It would provide a seat for economic development of sports in our town that is where there's always going to be politics, right? But it's the politician, the political responsibility is spread out, and therefore it's easier for more people to be involved and feel like they have some control. But the way it is now, you don't have that. You have, even within the city of Oakland, the county of Alameda, only a handful of those elected officials who are truly interested. But again, the problem is that each elected official is in different areas. And they tell you, well, this is more important to me than that. Well, that doesn't help you, and it doesn't help the city. Okay? It doesn't help Oakland. And so it leaves us vulnerable again and again and again to these problems. Or it leaves us in a situation we're in with the A's, where the A's are quite literally willing to or capable of jerking us one way or the other with a two-site proposal that some council members rightly don't want to do. Now, do I object to having the A's as a developer? No, I don't. What I believe is the only thing I object to regarding the A's proposal is tearing down the stadium. That is taking away our large-scale event center, and we're allowing the athletics to dictate our economic development future on a gigantic, large plot of land called the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum Complex. That is irresponsible. That is completely, simply irresponsible to do. And yet we do it. But not only that, it's not just the current group of elected officials. We've had this problem for a long time, folks. It's Oakland's political DNA, and that's why the DNA needs to be changed. And the only way to change the DNA is to have a true Oakland Sports Commission. Have it by initiative, but by signature, get it on the ballot, and have the citizens back it, which they will. Because we're seeing these changes. And again, this is in San Francisco, and they're talking San Francisco, not Oakland. No, Oakland A's are in Oakland right now, okay? But could Oakland lose the A's? Well, it's set up that could happen. But my whole point is we as a city have to stop letting the A's make proposals. Where is the city's proposal? Only Rebecca Kaplan's come up with an idea, but she did it in a way that is kind of nebulous. And she did it in a way where her media approach is poor, to say the least. Okay? Certainly didn't ask for my advice. And then the simple fact that I mentioned her and not somebody from the business community should give you pause. We don't have in the past, when Bob Toney was over the Chamber of Commerce, and we had a number of people representing business who were active in the chamber. The Chamber of Commerce would have come up with a solution. They would have gotten the business community together and come up with a solution. I just got an idea. Because we don't have that. And, nothing against Barbara Leslie, but under Barbara's watch, the Oakland Chamber of Commerce has been silent and non-existent on this issue for the first time in my lifetime. For the first time in my lifetime, I can tell you the Oakland Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce, when it comes to the issue of sports, is asleep at the wheel. Like this. Well, in fact, it's wrong to say they're asleep at the wheel because their hands aren't even on the wheel. All right. So I'll be back with another one. I just want to make this short live stream to talk about this and put the appropriate bow on it. It's a failure for the Warriors, a failure for Oakland, a failure for San Francisco, a failure for the Bay Area. Because it's a zero-sum game. Someone wins, you would think, but someone loses. But in this zero-sum game, both San Francisco and Oakland lost. Bad stuff. All right, folks. Good night. I'll see you.